Hi everyone, and welcome to Land of the Knuckleheads, episode 15. We've been here a while. We've been able to really make a difference in sharing some of the things that knuckleheaded managers do. You know, the knuckleheads, what do I mean? A knucklehead is somebody that's doing their best, but really they don't quite know what they're doing, and they hurt their employees when they're supposed to be helping them. And this series is all about helping you get the advice that you need to be more successful working for a knucklehead. In today's episode, I want to take on a topic that came from a dear friend of mine. And the question really is, Ron, what do I do when my manager keeps telling me that, well, back in my day? And you know, managers are funny like this. People are funny. You know, when I grew up, people used to say to me, well, back in my day, we used to have to walk to school 5 miles uphill in a driving snowstorm. Yeah, I grew up north. And I'm like, what's that got to do with today? And I think that's the challenge where some managers, they get stuck in this past mentality. So if you go up to your boss and you say, I'm a little overwhelmed and I need some help. I want to make sure I do a great job for you. I'm trying to get through everything, but there's more work than there is hours to do it. What can you do for me? Now, if they come back to you and go, well, in my day, when I did this job, we were able to get it done and then some. We had time to go out for coffee and kick it back in the last hour. And they're like, well, how's that helping me right now? One thing you need to recognize, it's entirely possible that maybe they did do it better than you. Personally, I don't believe it. I think that their memory's flawed, but they might have. So you need to be open to the fact that they might have a better way. And here's the first step. I want you to think about asking them, well, can you walk me through some of the strategies that you use to be effective in the role? I want to make sure that I'm leveraging the same skill and expertise that you had so I can be successful. What, you want me to tell you how to do your job? No, boss, I'm not trying to ask you how to do the job. I just want to make sure that I have all of the key things that I need to be successful in the role. Now, that might work, and it might not. So there's another tactic that you could try if you're certain that it's just a change in workload. The business has gotten more sophisticated, it's got more complicated, and they just don't seem to get that. One of the things that I like to do is consider a client that you've taken on, a piece of work that you've taken on, and that's very complicated, a high maintenance account, whatever, right? So a job that has a lot of complexity to it. And make sure it's one that's just been taken on in the last couple of years that you know full well that they didn't do, your boss didn't do, back when they did your job, and ask them. The next time they say, well, back in my day, we had no problem getting through all that, and we had time for a bag of chips and put our feet up at the end of the day. When they say that to you, oh, fantastic. Well, can you help me understand how to best manage through project X or task Y, whatever it is, the thing that you know to be incredibly complex and time-consuming that wasn't around 3 to 5 years ago when they did the job. And they may sit there and go, well, we didn't have that client. Oh, okay, well then, tell me about a client similar to them. Tell me about a project similar to that was really involved and complex and sucked a lot of time up. How did you deal with it? Now, if they're just making stuff up, if they're just reacting and going, well, back in my day, it was all good, they don't have any data to support their opinion. If it's just opinion, now they got to think. And that's a really cool thing when they're thinking about it, because now they're actually considering, well, maybe I don't quite get it. Or maybe my perspective isn't quite right. Or maybe I ought to go get some data to support my opinion that I'm offering this employee. Now, here's the key when you do this. It has to be authentic curiosity. You have to want to learn from your supervisor. If you're just doing this to get them off your back, it won't work. It's got to be authentic. If you do that, if you ask them and you're willing and open and listening to what they have to say, I think you'll find that your boss might have strategies for you. And if they don't have strategies for you of how to get better, then maybe they'll just get off your back because they're starting to realize that you do have a more complex job than they had when they did something similar in the past. And either way, it's a good outcome, because in the future, that boss that realizes it's gotten more complex is now starting to think, hey, maybe they need help. And that's exactly what you're asking them for in the first place. Don't expect help quick, though. You need to get excellent at what you do. And I'll tell you what, so many times people come to me and say, Ron, how do I tell my manager everything around here sucks? And I'm like, are you performing? What do you mean? Are you performing? Are you a high performer? What do you mean? Okay, so if you're not a high performer, your boss is going to listen to high performers first. People that perform at a low level, they don't listen to. They're going to be thinking, all right, you do your job first and then come and talk to me. You do your job well first and then come and talk to me. I don't want to hear from you if you're complaining because you can't do your job. So really look in the mirror and make sure that you're doing your job at the highest level before you start complaining about how much work there is to do. Guys, it's really important that you understand that your manager is there to help you, but he can't help you if he can't hear you because he thinks you're whining and complaining. You really got to perform at a high level in order to be able to get them to want to help you. Okay, so that's it for Land of the Knuckleheads, episode 15, Lead Well.